Do I go black at any point?
Okay. Well, hi everyone. Welcome to DBC Inc. Live. I am Tara Martin, your host, and this is David Domena. We are excited to have him in the house tonight. Welcome, David.
Hey, Tara, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We're grateful. He said he was going to be waving his hands around every once in a while to make sure his lights didn't go off. So if you see him do it and then I just do it too, just to have a little bit of fun, you can do it too at your house. Just wave around with us. We want to make sure those lights stay on. So we will be talking a little bit about some wonderful topics, have a little bit of a backstory from David. He is a member of our Appeal family. We like to call them not professional learning community. They're our professional learning family. You guys are like a part of us. And so we're so excited to have him on the show. Welcome, Sean. And we would love to have more of our Appeal family joining us on these live shows too, not just our authors. And we will be still giving away a free book. So don't worry, get those comments over in the comment section. We have a ton of books to choose from, and you just get to choose from all of them. It's not a specific one tonight. And I have a confession. I did not announce the winners from last week. So tomorrow it'll be bonus Friday. We'll be announcing winners for this show and the winners from last week too. So be sure and get your comments over in the comment section. And you know the drill. Anything you love, say it. If you don't like what we're saying, tell us that too. We like all those comments. Brian, welcome. Welcome, Sean. Hey, Kristen. How's everyone? Dave's in the house. Good to see everyone. So, David, you come to us, obviously, from your classroom. We're excited about that. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, and then we'll dive into some content and talk shop a little bit. Welcome, Leslie. Hi, Monica. So great to see all of you guys.
Yeah, thanks again for having me. I asked you a while back if I could jump on and just talk about some stuff, and then you're telling them that they can put comments on there if they don't like what we're saying. So I'm not used to that. I thought we were all positive. I'm just
good, bad, or indifferent. We'll take it all.
We'll take it all. We'll take it all. Yeah, I'm an 8th year educator, so I'm coming to education as a second career, and through my 8 years, I've realized there's things that are very different than the other space I'm coming from, which was retail warehousing. I used to run warehouses and supervise warehouses, and some of the stuff we talked about last time was just having a different perspective on education and looking at things a little bit differently. So I've never been a fan of or one to count down days in going into spring break or winter break or even Thanksgiving break. I've worked jobs before where I worked on Thanksgiving Day. And then when I was leaving at
you worked retail for sure.
Yeah. So I'm leaving 4 p.m., 5 p.m. on Thanksgiving Day, and people are looking at me like, where do you think you're going, buddy? We're still working here. So I'm not used to having those times off where you don't really have a chance to work. And I know we still do plenty of work on our times off. It's not really completely unplugged if we're dedicated to the craft, but just looking at it a little bit differently. I know, Tara, when we talked, you spoke about growing up and having a different perspective as well as a student, where you weren't always looking forward to those breaks.
Yeah. So David was talking to me a little bit about wanting to come on the show, and he was talking about the countdown and how much that just stresses him out. Like, why it stresses some of his kids out. And he was like, oh man, I don't like this. And I was newspaper journalist. Yes. There's so many doctors. Sorry, my earbuds are dead. So we get a old school. There's so many professions where they are working on the holidays, right? And then as David mentioned, when I was a little kid, I did not like the countdown either. So he was talking about the countdown. For anybody who likes the countdown, hey, we're not bashing it. We're not saying you can't do it. We're just giving you another perspective of how others may view it, and just to consider. It's just something to throw out there. But when I was a little girl, the countdown meant that I was going to have to be at home for a long time. And school was definitely a place where I felt safe. It's a place where I got hot, free meals. And the thought of being home in an unsafe, abusive environment where I wasn't sure what we were going to be eating for dinner or breakfast was scary. And it wasn't something I looked forward to. I didn't like counting down days to it. Even though I know for others, it was really fun and exciting. So it's just something to think about. We're coming up on spring break, and maybe you do a countdown. But I would just love it if we surveyed even the students, like the students that we serve, and ask them, like, do you like this? Why or why not? Like, does this make you feel excited or not? And why? Maybe every one of your students has a great place to go when they leave for weeks. And that is a good, exciting thing. But it could be that they're like me. They're wondering who's going to, where am I going to get my free meal? And who's going to take care of me, or where am I going to have 8 hours of safe time? So just something to consider. And I think it's worthy of thinking about when David brought that up.
Yeah. And like you said, Tara, we're not, we don't want to shame anyone for doing that or take that joy away from them. But, and really selfishly, I don't do it. I kind of hold back from doing it because I feel like if I count down towards spring break, then when I'm in spring break, and we get 2 weeks off here, which is really nice in California. But while I'm in spring break, I might start counting down the days till I go back. And then I'm counting down to the next thing and the next thing. And then I don't feel like I'm ever really in any of it, living any of it, appreciating any of it, being present. So I'm really hesitant to count down because I don't want to fall into that trap. And that's just how I feel like I would take it, counting down constantly and not really enjoying any of it.
For sure. And I like Sean's comment here. He said the countdown has an unintentional connotation of not wanting to be with those students. Last couple of years at the end of the year, I had a countdown to the start of the next school year. I like that because it's like, I get to see you again real soon, And also, I love what you're talking about, being in the moment. I just recently wrote a blog last week about moments and how, I get so caught. I don't know if you're like this, but I am such a goal setter. And I get so caught up on like beating my next PR or what's next or how do I level up, and until I forget to like soak up this PR and this moment and what just happened. And so, because something good will happen and I'm like, okay, what's next? It's like, wait, let's just like soak this up a minute. Let's just be here. Let's enjoy this. And I think it's important just to think about that. We live in such a fast forward world, right? And it's easy to like jump into the next thing. But how often do we just take time and remind our students, our learners, to do the same thing?
Oh, totally. I agree with that. I love Sean's comment too. A couple of years ago, I started having parties on the first day of school, because we always like to have a party to finish the year, and we made it, and it's summertime. But I thought, why are we celebrating leaving out of here? We should be celebrating getting here the first day. Let's celebrate that we're going to have an amazing year. But I'm with you, Tara. I'm the same. I'm a list guy. So I have lists everywhere. I carry some in my pockets and I'm crossing them off or highlighting in my teacher planner. I got lists all over the place that I have to consolidate every month or so. But yeah, I cross off something on the list. But did I really enjoy the accomplishment of that, or did I just get it done and take care of it and make the cross off? So that's something I'm working on too. I'm not close to being there yet, but I got to be more in the moment and celebrate the stuff that I have gotten done.
The good things. Yes. Amy, I love this. Memories and anticipation, still the present moment. They really do. And I think sometimes even for me, it's like, I want to capture the moment. So I'm constantly with my phone, like trying to capture everything on video. And I'm like, wait a second. I just need to like do this thing. In fact, my family, we all did an obstacle course recently. We've never done one of the 5K races. That's literally an obstacle course all along the way. And when you finish a 5K, but it's like all kinds of fun stuff all along the way. Well, I was so caught up in wanting to capture all these moments. I was like, one of the obstacles, or a couple of obstacles I totally missed. My phone was just in my pocket and it was so fun. And I'm like, why am I so worried about this? Like, it's great to capture it, but it's also wonderful just to like embrace it, just enjoy it.
For sure. Well, you got to get on Instagram, right? If it's not on Instagram, it never really happens. So
right. We got to be IG official for sure. I do love me some memories and I love looking back at them. I record a lot of my lifts and stuff from CrossFit. And as long as I can set it up and I'm still doing the thing and thinking about the moment, I'm fine with that. And I could post it later. But sometimes I just get caught up, like so busy holding the phone that I forget the fun of like seeing their facial expression when they're doing something, the kids or my dog or anything.
Yeah, for sure. I'm right there with you. Oh, Dave got me. Oh man. Can we just skip that comment? Are we able to skip any comment?
You most certainly can.
No, if I'm being honest, I totally do that. I'll not have something on my list. It'll pop up during the middle of the day. I'll get it done and I'll write it on the list just so I can cross it off.
Did it today. I did it today. I'm like, that sucker took me 30 minutes. It's going on the list to get.
Yes, exactly. I have to add it. If it's more than 20 to 30 minutes, it's going on the list and I can be proud I did it.
Yes, because I love being able to look back and see what I did for the day. And if it's not there, like, what did I even spend all that time doing? Right?
Yeah. Now I do, I'll give myself the grace of appreciating that I got it done or got it off the list or adding it to the list. So I'll appreciate that. Once I add it, I'll be like, yes, I did it. And I'll take that moment to appreciate that. But I do that. I'll add stuff just to take them off.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And Nick says she does this all the time. She's in our camp. And I love what Amy had to say about countdowns too. It unintentionally creates a sense of urgency. This is like the reason I used to hate timed multiplication tests. Like every single time we had to do those in elementary school. First of all, I'm a writer. I never was an awesome math student, but I'm coming to stop thinking about math in that way, getting there. But those timed multiplication tests used to stress me out, just knowing that we had it coming. I would have extreme anxiety. And so I think you're right, Amy. You know, we're constantly counting down. We're just creating this sense of urgency. Like, we got to get out of here. We got to get in here, whatever it is that we got to do. And it just creates anxiety. Even if people are happy to go, you know, you still are creating that. I like sharing that.
Yeah, I love these comments. You guys are making me feel better about making lists and adding stuff just to cross them off. And I feel like I'm in good company. And I know we talked earlier, Tara, about last week my son was in the hospital. So we had to talk as a family, like, this kind of stinks. You know, it's no fun being in the hospital. We were in there for 5 days and we were kind of losing our marbles a little bit trying to get out of there towards the end. But what about those days we don't go to the hospital? Mm-hmm. Even if it's just a boring, mundane Tuesday and we just went to school and went home and had dinner and watched some TV, and that's still better than going to the hospital. So it kind of reset our perspective of like, hey, it stinks to be here, but let that create the sense of appreciation when you don't have to do something like this. And so that was helpful. That was kind of our silver lining there, being there for 5 days.
Yes, I'm so glad he's doing better on the mend, getting ready to go back to school. Just so exciting. It does remind me, though, on our healthy days, like, we need to be grateful for all the things we can do when we're healthy, because we don't have that opportunity all the time. You know, we never know what life's going to toss our way. And I love that you guys were thinking in that way and really just, like we said, changing our perspective. We can see things in multiple different ways. We can see a countdown as something exciting and fun. And for some students, that might be. We can see a countdown for students like me that are struggling to not be in a place where they love. And that could be very stressful. And, you know, I thought about this too earlier, of soaking in the moments with our students, of a statement that Dave mentions in his book, Teach Like a Pirate, where he talks about he wanted to create experiences for students that they were running to get in and not out of school. And I don't know this for a fact, but by reading Dave's book, I feel confident that he created those experiences for him as a teacher too, because he was so excited about these lessons, so excited about being there for the kids. And I think if we live every day like that, which it's just hard to do because work is not always fun. You know, work becomes mundane sometimes. It's just part of life. But if we can try, you know, to see it in that way, like, we're creating experience that kids are loving this. They want to be here. So let's not like make this feel like we're ready to be out of here. Yeah,
totally. And I'm not sure across the country, but in California, it's kind of hard to become a teacher. You have your CSTs and your TPAs and your RECA, and there's just a bunch of hoops that you have to go through, student teaching, all that good stuff. So I haven't been in it that long, 8 years. And I can remember, I actually teach at the site that I did my student teaching at. So it's kind of always in my face, remembering back to that time. But it was hard, man. And I remember I had like a checklist, like we talked about, right? And I had like 14 or 15 things that had to go perfectly, like in the exact order. If one of them got messed up, then it would just set me back a whole year. And it all worked out, and it was amazing. Oh, there we go. There's the case right there. But I remember that, and I appreciate going through all that stuff. And I think, man, if I did all that work to become a teacher, then how can I trudge on this campus and be kind of miserable while I'm doing this job? I worked hard to get to this spot. I should appreciate it, even on the hard days. I don't want to be claimed a toxic positivity guy or anything. I have hard days, and it's rough sometimes for sure. This is the hardest job I've ever had. It's also the most rewarding job I've ever had too. So I worked hard to get here. I should appreciate even the boring, mundane days.
I love that. And I appreciate, I love hearing about it from someone from a second profession. You're not my only person that I've ever heard that's, a second profession story, but I love hearing that perspective because it's always very unique and interesting how you came to education knowing that it probably pays a ton less. It probably is not like as glamorous, but it is rewarding, and it's because your heart was there. David, we talked about something earlier about a comment that was made to you in a hallway, and we're not bashing on teachers, by the way. We're just like thinking about how we measure our words too, and how kids like take and internalize our words, whether we want them to or not. I'd love for you to share that story. No, don't use names or anything, but just for us to be mindful of that, because I think sometimes we do get frustrated at work, and we do have to remember we have a lot of ears listening to us.
Yeah, definitely. It's a few weeks back now, and I'm right next door to one of our special ed classrooms here on campus, and just passing through in the hallway, this teacher has been getting some new students in, and they're giving everyone a run for our money. I'm over there helping out when I can. I was in there today trying to read a book, and the principal came in and said, "Okay, get out. We got to find somewhere else to read this book because there's some foul language happening that wasn't great for elementary school." So we moved on back to my STEAM lab next door, and we read the book here. But the teacher was passing by me in the hallway, and she just made the comment kind of flippantly, like, "Oh, we have STEAM tomorrow with you. And good luck," is all she said. And I thought, well, that's kind of a bummer to hear. It's kind of like you gave up on the kids already before we even started. And I'm a competitive dude, so I took it like a challenge. Like, oh yeah, you want to see good luck? I'm gonna do the best you've ever seen.
All the kids were right there, right?
Yeah, they were following because they leave. Their schedule's a little different, so they were leaving for the day about an hour before everyone else, and the kids were following right behind her. And so I'm thinking that too. Like, they heard what you said, and maybe they didn't all catch it. It was kind of a sarcastic comment, but just in case any of them did, it's kind of a bummer to have them realize, like, oh, she's probably talking about us. Like, we're going to be a handful for this guy tomorrow, and we haven't even gotten there yet. It's not even tomorrow yet. So
we might have a fresh new day tomorrow. Like, you just never know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you what, I remember being that kid that I think every single one of my elementary teachers wished that I was absent every single day, and I never was absent. Literally never was absent. David, you're not going to believe this, but I got a scholarship my senior year for perfect attendance. No kidding. K through 12.
K-12 perfect attendance?
For
oh
real.
My gosh.
$5,000.
Wow.
No kidding. Like, my teachers wished I would have been absent. I came to school sick. I never missed school.
That's incredible.
And not because they loved me, because trust me, I was the kid that every teacher was like, why is she always here? But
I find that so hard to believe. I'm sure a lot of people find that hard to believe. Maybe Dave can help us out and give us some insights.
I was terrible. I was, especially all the way until second grade. I couldn't read until then. So I was developmentally delayed. Well, educationally delayed. I was developmentally perfect, like on target, but anything educational, I was still learning. I had 6 letters and sounds when I started the second grade. And so I just wreaked havoc on every one of those classrooms because I never knew what was going on. I remember, this is a true story. When we think about perspective, I remember getting a permanent frowny face stamp on my hand every day in kindergarten, every single day. I don't think I ever got a smiley face stamp. You always had to get a stamp. You had to take it home and show your parents. Well, that was 10 times worse abuse than when on the normal day if I had no stamp on my hand. But
Right.
every single day I took that frowny face. But there were many days I would come in and I didn't get to take a bath like every day. Like it was just a mess. My family was just a hot mess. But I didn't get to take a bath a couple times a week. And so I would just come in with my frowny face, 5 years old, just walk into my teacher. I'm like, hey, Miss Lawson, don't worry about it. I still have it from yesterday. Like, you don't even have to worry about it.
I'm good. I'm good.
I knew it was going to be bad and I was going to get one anyway. So I think,
Wow.
Jared, take the day off. I think, kids do internalize like what we think about them or how we believe them to behave. We don't even have to, like, I didn't even think I needed a fresh start. I knew what she was going to think of me every single day. And I was so grateful, like when I did get in second grade, had best teacher ever. Like she loved me like all the rest of the kids. And I couldn't believe it. I talk about her all the time in my book. But I remember her hugging me and making me feel super special. And she taught me to read, actually. And after that, I became a much better student. I was still super hyperactive. I take medication now, but I was super hyper, but I also like could learn, and so of course I was a better student at that point. It's true. I don't like taking days off. I'm just a busy girl.
Apology for a day off.
And it's not because of him. He's totally fine. I know. It's bad. I just like to be there. I don't want to miss out. I don't want some FOMO.
Yeah, the stamp. That's a crazy story. You get a stamp on your hand every day.
Every day. It was permanent, y'all. It was like the kind that you probably get at the clubs where you can't wash it off. It doesn't matter. And I didn't take a bath every day, obviously. And so I don't know. I had frowny faces on top of frowny faces. It was a permanent on my left hand. I remember it like I remember just walking into class like, no need for a stamp.
That's crazy.
It's going to be a bad day.
Since you already gave it to me, I already got it. We'll do this.
Every day is a bad day.
Man, that's wild. That would never fly today.
I would know. I remember getting on the bus and my bus driver, her name was Miss Debbie. She was really sweet. I think she wanted the best for me. She used to really, really try to help me out. She'd bring me hand-me-down clothes. But I remember her saying, how was your day? I'm like, another bad day. Like, every day.
In kindergarten.
Another bad day.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Poor Miss Lawson. I hope she's still alive.
Yeah. You're dropping names out here. Huh?
Like just sending it out. I hope she changed her ways if she is.
Yeah, at this point, for sure. And teaching is hard. I know we talked about that already. I try to send out every couple months. I have like a reminder in my calendar, another list, right? And I send out just random acts of kindness, random words of kindness. And I find it crazy that when I send these, I just sent some out this week on Tuesday, and I get so many responses back. Like, how do you always know when I need that inspiration or pick me up or whatever it is? And I just laugh about it because I'm like, it's not that I know, it's because teaching is that hard. Like you need that on most days, right? Probably 90% of the days you need a pick me up. So I just happen to hit those days with my little blurb about you rock or whatever. And they send back that I always have the right timing, but it's not really that. It's just teaching's a hard profession, man. It's hard work.
Every day's a hard day. Not a bad day, just a hard day.
For sure, yeah. My wife,
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, my wife was here today. She was helping. She's the PTA vice president. She was helping out, and she sees when the kids come in, and she's just shaking her head after some kids left, like, man, their teacher is with them like that all day, every day. I'm like, yeah, that's some of the classes are like that. I just get their little 30, 45 minutes, and then I send them back. I'm the fun uncle teacher on campus. So
yes, you got to love that, though. Those are fun days. That's kind of what I get to do when I do assemblies now. Like, get to be the fun aunt, bring them all kinds of stickers, love on them, and then see ya.
Send them back. Get them all riled up.
Yeah. Give them some candy. Just kidding. I don't do that. But I do love to get them all hyped up and excited about learning or excited about chasing dreams. And I think that's, we're talking about perspectives and we're talking about the impact of teachers. And I was telling you just a little bit about my second grade teacher, Mrs. S., who was amazing. My book, Be Real, just the whole first story just talks about her and how she did not view me as a statistic. All my family had drop out of school, or they didn't value education, drugs, alcohol, all the things, And Miss S just never looked at me like that. She didn't look at me as the kid with the frowny face stamp on her hand every single day either. She just gave me a chance from day one to tell her what I wanted to learn at the end of second grade, which I told her I wanted to learn to read because all my friends learned to read. And then back in the day, y'all, school was, I don't know why I loved going there because I really got in trouble a lot. But I lived in Mr. Shelton's office. He was our principal. I lived there. I would just go there all the time just to hang out because I knew I was going to get sent there. But Mrs. S, she hardly ever sent me to the principal. I think I only went a couple times that year. She always just took it upon herself to make me feel super special. And it was crazy how meeting my Maslow's needs and really just loving on me a little bit made me want to learn more. And how that woman taught me to read 10 minutes before school each day, I have no idea, because I've taught third grade. That's hard work. That's a lot of work to get a kid from learning 6 letter sounds to reading on like all the way up to a third grade level at the end of second grade. And she did that for me. And I think it just was all about how she was perceived by me. Like I saw her as someone who cared a lot, and I wanted to do like whatever I could to make her proud, but also to she taught me to make myself proud. And I just think we have an impact to make on a lot of students on our good days and our bad days. And I think sometimes we just have to be reminded that like the work we're doing is really hard. But then when you have a 44-year-old woman like me looking back and thinking that Mrs. S literally changed the trajectory of my life and I didn't turn out like my family, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's beyond amazing. And you're right. That's why we do. And we don't see that right away, right? We don't get that payoff until, 30 years down the road or whatever it may be. So, and I think that's been some of my heartache is when I came into it, my first year I taught 4th grade, and I expected naively that everyone was going to be reading 4th grade level and writing and math 4th grade level. Right. I had no idea. I had kids from 6th grade all the way down to kindergarten level that first year. It's just rude awakening, but yeah, to see them, those kids are in high school now. So to see what they're up to, and it is kind of the payoff down the road that you can look forward to.
It's so exciting. I had a student email me the other day, her college graduation. She's graduating from nursing school. She's first generation college graduate too. And I'm so proud of her. She was in my 3rd grade class, and just to hear her story and how she's like, look, Miss Martin, I did the same thing. I became a first generation graduate of anything too. Like, it's just so heartwarming to know that, we can be such an example for our students. Yes, you're right. Which is why our heart has to be the reason we do. Exactly, Amy. You're right. So right.
The power.
44. I'm an old lady. I'll be 45 this year. I can't believe it. That's crazy.
Oh man. Yep, mid-40s. I'm right there with you. I'm 45, so but I want.
Where does time go? I feel like we should just still be young.
Yeah, I act like it still. So that's my effort.
I'm a middle schooler mind. Just a 44-year-old body, for sure. Well, David, this has just been such a wonderful conversation. I love that we've just talked about lots of different things, but I think if we were to summarize it, we'd just say, being mindful. It's a tough time. We're all burning out. Educators are burning out all over the place. And just reminding ourselves of why we're here, what we're doing, and how many little ears and big ears, like it doesn't matter how old they are, even our adult learners care about what we say and the way that we say it. So perspective really does matter. What would you add?
Yeah, exactly that. And just like you said, the comment that was made to me, I felt bad for the kids, but then I thought about, well, what kind of mindset does that put me in to go teach that class the next day? I'm already apprehensive or kind of defeated or worried about it, whatever it may be. But I guess one thing I would say, and this is something I'm working on, so you could take it or leave it, or it would just be to smile more. Like as adults, I don't feel like we give ourselves permission to smile, even if something amazing happened. And like I told my wife, oh, Dave Burgess, they're going to have me on the show, the thing I do every Thursday. So I gave myself permission to smile about that. That was a pretty big deal to me. Or a couple of years ago, I had thought about this for years, for like 10 years. I got a Can-Am motorcycle, Can-Am Spider. It's a 3-wheeler. And I waited like 10 years to get this thing. So nobody knows, but I ride that thing around town and I have my helmet on. I'm just smiling ear to ear because I finally got this thing and I waited long enough. I made sure I was mature enough to handle it. And so I'm smiling underneath that helmet. But I realized I don't smile enough. Even with that helmet on, I was kind of stifling a smile when I first started on that thing because I just didn't give myself permission to smile enough, even when things are going great. So yeah, try to smile a little bit more if you can.
Yeah, I smile a lot. I definitely think I smile a lot. I don't know how or why, but I smile even sometimes when I'm crying. I'm just like trying so hard to not be sad, but it's just happening. But I agree with you. I think, it depends on our mindset, right? Sometimes there are some down days and I'm just like, I want to be sad, but, sometimes it's good to feel all the emotions, but if we're feeling happy and we're feeling proud of something, we need to smile. Kids, it's infectious, but smiles are known to have, first of all, I think you use a ton less muscles to smile over frowning. And also my default is a smile too, Amy. Even when something's not going right, ask Dave. There's times where he's like a team meeting or something. They call me the living emoji because I have all the facial expressions. But there are times where I'm like that was bad. Like, I hope they don't continue on that path. But yes, by default is smiling too. And we would do well to smile more. It's always nice when you walk in the grocery store, even just downtown, and you see someone smile. I'm always like, oh, I'll give you a smile back.
Yeah, a little pick me up there for sure.
Yeah, it feels good. I am the human emoji.
Well, forever be known as that now. People are going to tag you like that.
No poker faces around here. Sorry about that. You will know if I have the winning hand. I'm like,
there it is.
Awesome. Well, David, it has been so lovely to have you on here. If people want to try to follow you and your work, how can they get in contact with you?
Oh, again, thank you so much for having me on. This has been awesome. On Facebook, I'm David Domena, at David Domena, but on Instagram and Twitter, and I think I even have my TikTok is all at Mr. D Elementary, and it's mostly stuff about the students or my kids or positive messages, things like that.
I love it. I love following your work. And I do have his handle above and below this video, so you'll see it there as the special guest, and it has the Mr. D Elementary. But please do follow him, check it out. And if you are interested in being on our show, please do email me at tara@daveburgessconsulting.com. We are trying to have more of our Peel family on here, as well as our authors. So let us know if you're interested, you have something you want to talk about. If it's just a topic. David came to me and he was like, hey, I just want to talk about perspectives of a teacher. I'm like, hey, let's do it. I'm game. I can go along with pretty much most topics. But yeah, just email us. Let us know. Thank you so much for joining. Always appreciate your time and energy too. And we would love to see you back next Thursday. Remember, real quick housekeeping, that Dave dropped a new podcast called Putting on Socks. You need to check it out. 7 minutes long. David watched it. Dave, before we leave here, and I'll grab the link, tell him a little bit about your key takeaways, but don't spoil it.
Oh yeah, I try to keep my takeaways cryptic and vague, and but I'm gonna actually make my wife and daughter listen to it this weekend because it's just a way to get really fired up. And I would think if we could go into most days with that kind of mindset, I think we'd be all right. But my big takeaway was that everything matters. And I tell my students that all the time. If you're here with me in the STEAM lab and you're rocking and rolling, or you're telling me that you want a leadership role around the campus, or you want to be the best math student in 4th grade, but then we see you on the playground and your actions aren't really matching up with that, then there's a disconnect there. It all matters. Holding the door open for the librarian, that matters. Turning in all your homework, that matters. Doing your best on the test, that matters. So that was my big takeaway. Everything matters. Even on the days where it feels like you're weighted down and you don't want to give that best effort, it still matters.
It kind of goes right along with our talk, honestly.
It does. Yeah.
That, it matters. Everything we do and say matters. And it's a big responsibility, but it is our responsibility. And so it's important. Love it. Check it out. 7 minutes. So that is it. One update. Also, we have a special deal, $2.99, several Kindle books that are on sale right now. Do go check those out. You can look them up on both of our accounts at DBC_Inc. on Twitter. Also on Facebook, you will see those. They're all linked up for you, so you can easily find them. And then also the last thing is 2 of you over in the comments, thanks for joining us, will be a winner of a free book tomorrow, and 2 winners from last week. So it'll be 4 big winners tomorrow. So be on the lookout. If you're watching this on the playback, drop a comment so you can be entered to win. I think that's all for tonight. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. James Clear. Yes. Love it. Thanks for sharing, Sean. And everything we do matters. Be mindful of what we're doing in the classroom, how that might affect our students. Survey your students if you're not sure. It's a great way to learn what works for them and what doesn't, rather than us just assuming it all works. And thank you so much again for joining us. David, thank you for bringing your comments and your perspective to the show tonight. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.